Ed O'Keefe here with PI Wingman. We specialize in getting truck wreck injury cases and catastrophic injury cases. And this week at LaGuardia Airport, there was a catastrophic injury or a wreck accident. Let's see what we have here. What I'd like to do in this video is talk through the details of what happened and how, if I was advising you as my client, how would we get the attention of potential victims and get them to choose you to be their attorney to represent them. This is some major cases here. There's been, unfortunately, let me see what the actual details are. I'm going to head over to this page right here. We have 2 deaths with the pilots. We have 41 injured, and there's a lot of I'll make this a little bit bigger for you guys. There's a lot of people with questions right now on what they should be doing. So how do you position yourself in this scenario so that they are calling your firm to represent them? Okay. So let's start here. Let's just go. There's 9 with serious injuries, majority treated and released. But there's a high value multi-plaintiff opportunity here. And so what we want to do is, if you are in a position, depending on where some of these victims are from, that you could get some content and advertising in front of them very quickly. And I'm going to walk through that with you. But secondly is, probably even more importantly, is that while this is a big one that has everybody's attention, there are tons of these types of accidents happening every single day. Every day there's these types of accidents happening. And so the same playbook on how I would recommend us taking full advantage at the ability to help these people and their families. This is something you should be doing anyway. Okay. So let's go through this. This is phase 1. Now, as you know, if you watched any of my content or how we run media and how we run ads, it's a combination of direct response, meaning you may say things like, hey, have you been in a truck accident? Have you been injured in a truck accident? Here's 5 things you need to know before you choose an attorney, or what you need to know and do right now. And those are very direct response ads where you can say, hey, get a free evaluation of your case, what could possibly happen, all that stuff. However, there's another way to grow your brand and get even more leads, okay? And one of the things I'd recommend is that immediately you throw on YouTube, on Facebook, a simple video that is literally, could be the same way I just did this pen and paper here. You could just crank it out of LaGuardia crash explained, what really happened, or what you need to know about, was it an accident or who's at fault, anything like that, right? And the reason we're doing that is to enter the algorithms and get you positioned as somebody that is an authority, okay? And you could say, hey, if you or someone you love was on that airplane, here's what you need to know right now. And then you break it down. Who's responsible in these types of tragic accidents? You have an airlines that is, I believe it was Air Canada? Yeah, Air Canada. And so that's now an international airline. So that is another question, right? You have the fire truck Port Authority, because the airplane crashed into a fire truck that was crossing the lane. Air traffic control that has already said, oh, I screwed up. You have government liability. You have airport liability. You know, so there's so much you can cover on this, right? And the other thing is, this also brings up for non-lawyers, non-legal people. They don't even realize that there's multiple people that can be in this lawsuit. And so these settlements could be massive. And so you could break that down as well. Now, number 3, what victims must do immediately. And now this is something we cover even on our simple motor vehicle accidents, smaller ones. But Now, most people, as you know, are going to call and reach out to people close to them who they believe could potentially help them. Most of those people are unqualified, right? And so, again, like the reason why we create these micro videos is because where's my phone? We already know that this thing is tracking everything we do. We already know that. We also know what people are searching into Google. And Facebook and Meta or Facebook, Meta, Instagram are communicating with Google at all times. So these people that go in market are most likely to see your videos, even if you don't have any very aggressive targeting, which we'll talk about targeting in a moment. Okay. Number 4, we're going to talk about how much is a case like this worth, right? And again, this is a question and an awareness that just most people have no clue about, especially if you have experience with catastrophic injury cases. You could then position yourself as someone that deals with these types of cases a lot, where you have multiple liable parties. And then you could also cover the biggest mistakes victims make after accidents, right? Now, this is another way to teach them what they should be thinking and doing, okay? So with all this content, the next thing you might do here, so here's just more examples on YouTube, is Laguardia plane crash lawsuit, what victims need to know. Now, I'm going to show you an example right here of when I searched into YouTube, something really, really simple. What happens in an airplane crash, right? What happens in an airplane crash? And who can you sue? Okay. And the only video that popped up was this one here from a year ago, when this guy here, Attorney Tom, is talking about the Black Hawk helicopter that crashed into an airplane. And look at the amount of views he received, 23,657, right? I would like to tell you that if you got 100 of the right views, that is amazing, right? And so if you are the only one, like, let me just even put in here, like LaGuardia airport crash. No, actually, I'm going to say airport injury attorney. Let me see, if there's anything around. There's just really nothing around these things, right? There's nothing around, like, how do you pick an attorney? Let me show one more example here. So these ones are pretty good, and you'll see, like, can I sue my truck, and can I sue a truck driver's company for my injuries? You guys have seen this, right? But there's nothing here about airplanes, and there's nothing specific around LaGuardia, right? And so there's an open space here, like right this second, that that is just really something I'd recommend you jump on. I really do. And I can go into titles and stuff in a little bit. So the other thing that I would look at is take the same ad, take the same piece of content, and if you're able to find out, like, for example, if I knew this within 24 hours, I'd be running Facebook and Instagram ads at all the hospitals in New York City, like all within a 30-mile radius, maybe even probably less than that. And that would be very effective in a short-term strategy, right? And it would say something where you were a loved one in that LaGuardia flight, you may be entitled to compensation. Okay, that's the angle. We've seen this angles before. The angle's not as important as how quickly we get this live, right? The landing page, I mean, these are all things that we do for people, but just in case, if you want to be really specific on it, yeah, you say injured in LaGuardia crash. Read this before speaking to insurance, okay? And you just again, content is king. Like, we like interviewing our attorneys so that it sounds like a real show and that they're being interviewed as the expert. But this is a good outline here for you right now. And so I want to keep this rolling here. The really big power move would be to create a press release, right? Take trial attorney warns Laguardia victims, multiple parties may be liable, compensation could be victim. And then you may want to take an angle of like, why does this keep happening? And that might get you more news and publicity there. And so that's one way of doing it and getting on some press out of it. Okay. So you have all the news outlets. Now, what's also interesting, I don't know, you would know this better than I would, but since it's Air Canada, does that mean a lot of the people are from Canada? You know, that'd be an interesting thing to find out. And the other thing to understand there is, do you need a US based attorney to sue all of these different, or why you need a US based attorney to sue all the liable parties, right? And so that's another way to do it, right? And then this is where we start getting into like, these can all be separate, like little, look, you got Air Canada, maintenance contractors, fire truck operators, training super, who is liable, right? And so you have all these different things, and what are the different ways to go after it, right? Now, we could do a video on what's the potential injuries and settlement amounts. And anyhow, you can see where we're going with this, right? So I can go further into this. What I would like to say is if you're not doing this already, I highly recommend you head over to the link in the comments below on how we help you get truck, MVA, and catastrophic injury cases with paid media, Facebook, Instagram, Google, and YouTube. YouTube is a holy grail from a paid media perspective, as well as organic. Okay. And you can head over to the link in the description below, where I'll cover our truck wreck, personal injury boardroom, and our media and growth partner program for you. So super simple. You can watch this little video if you like it. We'd love to have you. Not everyone qualifies. We love working with people trying to break through to the 7, 10, multiple 8-figure mark, because all you need is a few truck cases every quarter to really start stacking some really good opportunities there and become better and better at what you do and help more people. Okay. So continuing on here, this is a lot of the things that we make content from. And so now I'm going to step back away from the urgentness of, or the critical, like short-term thinking about this one here. But these things, like what victims are already thinking, am I going to be okay long-term, or is my spouse, my loved one, who's responsible for this? How do I pay for my medical bills? How do I pay for an attorney? How do I know if I have a case? What is my case potentially worth? This is a great example of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 questions that you could easily have a separate 60-second video for each question, and you can have a 5 to 10-minute video tackling all the questions. Okay. And I like to coach my clients on let me switch to this tab. Sorry. What I like to coach my clients on is pretend like your ideal prospect is sitting in your boardroom or in your office, and you are walking them through what they need to know to help coach them, guide them, and put them at ease and give them the best advice that you could possibly give. That is what we take, and we utilize the content out of that. And that's how we grow your personal brand while driving cases to your firm. Okay. And then obviously we'll cover all these different things, and I'm going to keep rolling here. What could be a case worth? Big question. And then the playbook, right? I will go ahead and even on below this YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll stick it in the comments. I'll give you this whole framework. I mean, you just have it. And then obviously I'll put a link in there over to our website as well. And you can check out the other videos on my YouTube channel. We have a lot of stuff if you like what you're watching right here. So anyhow, here's what I want to tell you. even if you do the most minimal viable effort, you create a silly video that is super valuable. And when I say silly, I'm not saying it like the content's not great. I'm just saying like you take your phone, stick it on something here, and you record, okay? Post that on YouTube, on Facebook. I'm a big believer you should run ads behind it because you can control the distribution and you can gain momentum so much faster, right? Especially if you're trying to do something in a short amount of time, okay? You should get that live done as quickly as possible. And if you'd like help with it, we'd love to help you with it. But you need to be doing this anyway. And if you really want to dominate the truck wreck cases and position yourself in that market, you should be doing this in one fell swoop and becoming the strategically positioned expert. If you want to do that with airlines, with other catastrophic injuries, you got to become an authority. And instead of wasting so much money on billboards or even TV, you could be doing this and syndicating it out for like 1/100th of the budget in comparison to some of that stuff and getting a significant result. Now, I'm not saying spend no money because that's ridiculous. You're probably looking at what we find is $1,500 to about $3,000 is a typical MVA case, and then a truck case can be anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000, and in some rare cases up cost per case acquisition. And I always like to coach people is like, hey, what you got to always keep in mind is, especially with the bigger cases, you can't get caught up in, am I spending $1,000 per case, $10,000 per case? If you have the cash flow working through your MVA cases, then why would you not pay 10 grand, even 20 grand in some cases to get these nuclear verdicts on your side? And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's what we do. So if you want help with that, see you over there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any other questions, please leave a comment and talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye.